do consider myself a minority in the sense that my family is very mixed up, and I don't just have one particular group of people in my family. I mean, I have African, French, and Mexican. My stepmom's Mexican, my dad's African, my mom's French. So for me, I do consider myself in a minority in that sense because I have so many ethnicities that are in my immediate family as well as in my extended family. So yes. And whether or not I believe that your race plays a role in getting hired for a job, I think that nowadays it's less apparent. People don't openly tell you they're not hiring you because of your race, but sometimes it does play a role. Depending on the type of job and the position you get also plays a role. You might be super qualified, but they might not give you a certain position, maybe because of your race.
I'm Andrea Williams, and I'm a freshman at UNC Pembroke. Do I consider myself a minority? I don't think so. I'm really mixed into things, so I don't think I'm a minority, but I do believe in minorities. As far as does race play a role when getting hired with jobs, I do think so. I think they go for the more towards Caucasian mixed people rather than towards black people, and I think appearance plays a good role too. So I do think race plays a role when coming to jobs.
Do I feel like I'm a minority? Yes, I actually feel like I'm a double minority, being that I'm a woman and I'm African American, due to the stigmas and stuff that's set up in America. Even though the stigma is based off the social realm, I do feel like I'm still a double minority. Even though I don't act like one, I still act like I'm just as good as a male. I still act like I'm just as good as a Caucasian person, but that's just the way the world perceives us. Do I feel like the gender role wages is a gap? It's definitely a gap. Do I feel like it'll ever close? Not necessarily. Now I feel like it'll get closer, but to fully close, it'll have to be all the men in the world have to feel like women are equal to them before they even close. And some people was born in slavery days, so that'll never happen. That's just my opinion.
I am a minority, but at the same time I'm not. I feel like when it comes to getting a job at certain places, race does play a factor, but sometimes when it comes to other things, race doesn't really matter, and they just want someone with experience. So,
me personally, I've never experienced having any advantages when it comes to getting a job, but I know people who have tried to get a job who don't have a basic name, I guess you would say, and when they use their real name, they don't get the job. But then if they say they have a regular middle name and they use it, then they get the job. So it's the company discriminated against them, just judging off their real name. So that's how I feel about that. So I feel like it does happen. I feel like I do have disadvantages because a bunch of people, they'll just be oh, white people get stuff handed to them, and it's that I wasn't growing up just getting stuff handed to me. So it's I don't want to get a job, and people be oh, she just got that job handed to her, it was passed down to her, whatever. I want people to know I work for what I have. And the gender pay gap is horrible with everybody. If we're out here working the same job, we all deserve to get paid the same. That's how I feel about it. I don't care, what you are, man, female, I don't care, what race you are. If we're doing the same thing, we should get paid the same. So, and Beyonce's visual album is greatness. I've done watched it 20 times all the way through. It's the only thing I've been listening to since it came out. And I like how Beyonce builds up women. I feel like so many people try to talk down on black females, but Beyonce builds them up. I like that. So that's nice.
I definitely see myself as a minority, and I think going into job interviews that there definitely are preconceived notations of me just because of my skin color. But I feel it's my challenge to try to change these conceptions of me by my actions. So that's why I think that I have to try to stand out as a black man.
Based on the definitions in society for minorities, I most likely am a minority by definition. When it comes to hiring practices, I believe that there probably is some type of bias, either for or against, both pros and cons to being a minority, as there is sometimes a quota to fill in terms of number of minority versus number of white people in a work environment. So it can play to your advantage, but it can also play to your disadvantage for racial profiling against potential employers. When it comes to the gender wage gap, from the research that I've done, a lot of what I've read is more to do with differences in job choices. A lot more men are in STEM fields for a plethora of reasons, some of which being less people pursuing STEM and more people not being accepted into STEM. So those tend to be higher paying jobs, and therefore it probably is skewed just based on jobs alone. But I haven't seen anything for people performing the same jobs suggesting that they are paid less.